The reason I am talking about communication today is because I want to get to the bottom of the problem. If my problem is the communication or the interpreter in these particular situations, and I'd like your feedback. What is your input? Now, to receive a communication, we have to understand, which means we have to have a specific amount of knowledge in order to comprehend what another individual is saying. In this case, we're not talking about different languages. Specifically, I think we all speak English. Common sense is a major factor. We're not becoming too technical in these particular situations. So it's really difficult for me to comprehend exactly what's going on inside of these other individuals. Now, here's one of my problems. With advanced technology where it is today, it is going to be really difficult for individuals to progress if we don't gain a higher or an advanced understanding and ability to communicate. The painful thing is that it could lead to more harsh wars than what we've experienced in the last 20 years. And further, within the boundaries of the United States, which has not happened. Now, with that said, getting back on track, fluency is extremely important. In our communication, we have to be fluent. Not only do we have to understand our communication, but the other individual has to understand our communication. Now, it's simplistic to take things and break them down and ask questions. However, these particular things, the adverse, I want to say the versus individual, the other individual doesn't normally seem to ask a question about the communication. Normally they just interpret it and then somehow, some way, believing that they're needing to control the conversation, decide to just speak. It's not that they're saying anything to me. And in most of these cases, I just want to cut them off. I just don't want to hear from individuals that behave in this manner. Even after fluency, there has to be credibility. And then the credibility, there are main factors, facts, involved in your communication. If one person is communicating all fact, then it shouldn't be difficult for the other person to understand fact and interpret and then communicate. This is what's not happening. Also, in communication, there must be an amount of reality. There's fiction after fiction after fiction, books and novels written. And I'm not talking about fiction at this particular point. We're talking about non-fiction communication, factual communication. What is the reality of the situation? What happened versus what didn't happen? What is happening versus what isn't happening? What is reality? Well, it's a form of truth. Now, most of these communications are plain. They're simplistic. There's not a whole bunch of technicality or jargon involved in this communication. But what it's turning out to be in most of these situations. Instead of question, answer. It's question, mumbo jumbo. Communication, jargon. Or answer, the non-credibility. I want to get to the bottom of this issue that people seem to be having with communication. I want to ask a serious question. Percentage of credibility in communication. I have a tendency to believe that your communication needs to be about 95% truth. Throughout your lifetime, when you're communicating with individuals, you need to be communicating, unless it's a story, entertainment, something fun or something funny, your communications need to be 95% true. Instead of what I'm getting, actually, people who communicate 20% truth. I think that when a lie is told, in most cases, a lie is told for protection. This is why when I say, and when I say protection, I mean you might have to really protect a large group of people. Now you can think in a lot of different situations. You can form an understanding for different situations. Right now we don't need to get into high-class issues or issues that are involved with governmental structure and those particular types of things. We'll stay with the regular citizen. 95% of your communication should be truth and honesty. Simplistically, out of 100 years, 95 of the years that you spend communicating should be within truth and honesty. What I'm trying to steer clear of at this particular point is those that communicate the truth 15% of the time. Because I fail to understand why. You see, we have to get along with people. What I'm being taught through these communications is that lying isn't harassment. But I have a tendency to think lying is harassment. I'm being taught that cheating isn't threatening. But I have a tendency to think cheating is completely threatening. See, these lying and cheating are forms of communication. And most people don't care when they're lying or when they're cheating. Now, keep in mind that there's a serious difference between two people who are having fun and between two people, one not knowing what's actually going on. Now, you might lie to protect your assets, but this drone tendency doesn't seem to be protecting anything. In these cases, it's pathological. These people are actually becoming high from lying and you believing their lie.